Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with a review of some Power Rangers Ninja Steel action hero villain figures. It's weird, it's action hero villains, it's like opposing ideas. But anyway, so you could sort of consider this partly wave 2, I think, because like the first wave came out with just the 5, and then the second one included these 3 and one other. But I'm doing things a bit differently because I'm not sure of how many of the villain figures I'm going to be covering throughout the next 2 years. I'm only planning on getting main people like him, who's going to be a main villain, and him, who is a henchman. He is a monster of the week. These happen to all be available together, so I figured I'd cover one monster of the week. If you guys really want to see it, I might do more, but at the moment, basically, I'm just planning on covering the main villains because I'm just not a huge fan of the monsters of the week. But I'll cover it for this one video and see how it goes. It's going to kind of mess up my numbering for the waves, but we'll see. But that has been a minute of nonsense. Let's go ahead and get started right now with this guy who is going to be a main villain in the series, likely for X amount of time, just based on the source footage. I believe his name is Ripcon. Okay, so first problem is he comes with these 2 swords. The fact that he comes with them isn't a problem. They're sort of your classic, just standard molded weapons, blue. They're very flimsy compared to your average sword that you get with a Power Rangers figure. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because his hands are open so wide. Those are really difficult to have stay in. I was trying to pose him for the review and for the thumbnail, and every time I would lift his arm up, the swords would fall out. I don't know if that's maybe just my hands on him were too wide for whatever reason, or if that's for everybody, but that was kind of annoying, especially since it looks cool. Now, I think the mold on him is pretty solid. Like, you can really see how creepy his face is there. Like, I think the molding on this figure is well done, but the details are definitely lacking a bit, and I'm usually not a person to say that a lot with certain figures, but it's kind of the case of they could have added a detail here and there to have it come together more, and it becomes more apparent when you see stuff like his jacket, like a picture of him in the show. The jacket is a bit of a darker brown, less poo brown, I guess, and it has, I think it's gold, or like it's like a yellow of some sort, like little insignias that separate it and make it look quite cool. And just the brown makes it look kind of lame and cheap, but that part could just be me. But I just think that, like, for the most part, that's kind of my base opinion on all 3 of these, is that the mold is good. It's just, you needed a little bit more details to bring them together. They definitely look even more basic than some of the supercharged ones. But his, like, articulation is pretty much the same as a Ranger figure. You even have those sort of ratchety kind of, that sounds bad, but like they're kind of more clicky joints, which are a little bit more secure. The elbow movement here, you can move his arm all the way around, and it's obviously hindered by this. You got some solid leg articulation, pretty much the same as a Ranger, just a bit hindered by all these flaps here. Single elbow joint, no waist articulation. You can move his head, but it's pretty hindered by all the mess going on here, and there's no loose problems or anything like that, so that's nice. So it's like overall just a decent mold. I just wish he looked a little bit better. Here's the, now he just fell over in embarrassment. No, not really though. So just stand there. You can do it. Just believe, Ripcon. Just believe. He's not believing. He's not believing, guys. You should be chanting through the camera like you went on a Blue's Clues episode. That sounds like Blue's Clues is a cult now. Speaking of Blue's Clues, this guy's blue. Okay. So, this is the main henchman. I think it's like Basher or something. That's the name. I think he's my favorite of the 3 in certain aspects. The only main detail I think he's missing is on his arms. Again, kind of like I mentioned, he had little lines interwoven on his jacket. There's little blue lines, I think they're blue, interwoven on his arms, which actually looks quite cool. But I think for the most part, they actually capture the henchman pretty well. It's a pretty solid figure. I actually quite like it. Just small amounts of details that could be there. And my only other, like, more minor complaint is these 2 little flaps here could be a smidge longer, because when you look at the picture of it from the show, these like noticeably hang down, and they do hang down a little bit from the norm, but just a little bit more would be great. But that's kind of more of a minor nitpick. He has this just standard solid blue weapon. It is a bit less flimsy, or quite a bit less flimsy actually than Ripcon's. You got a pretty standard mold going on here, sort of the same, a little bit hindered by his flaps there. You know how it is. He's got the same ratchety kind of solid joints. I saw that fall on the back on Ripcon. Don't know I didn't see it. And you can move his head around a little bit better. But yeah, I like the henchman figure for the most part. I'm pretty happy with it. Yes, I do know I need to trim my nails. But He was standing so well before this, because I was going to say, like, at least I don't have any problems with them standing like some of the Ranger figures, but thanks a lot, Ripcon. Okay, now I think this guy's name is Ripperrat, so he's going to be one of the monsters of the week, and I actually do quite like his design. He's a bit more limited in articulation just because he is sort of a bulkier villain. You do have, like, the possible in and out movement, but it's hindered by these solid pieces here. You can move his arms back and forth. His legs back and forth a little bit. You can't move his head or anything. I kind of wish that they included a chest articulation that would have happened right here. It would have broken up the design a little bit, but it would have allowed you to have a slightly more dynamic pose for this guy who, you know, wouldn't have as many dynamic poses as people like these, which are a little bit more humanoid than he is, which is just normal. But sometimes when you have that little extra layer of articulation on a bulkier figure of some sort, it just kind of adds personality to it. But for the most part, this guy's design's pretty basic. Again, it could be pulled together with a few little details, but I actually do kind of dig his monster design. And if I'm only going to get a couple monsters of the weeks throughout this 2 years, I'm kind of okay with having him. I actually quite like him. He's not so bad. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it. Overall, I'm pretty okay with these figures. I actually kind of like Ripperrat. I'm pretty happy with the henchmen. It's mainly just Ripcon that I have problems with. I feel that definitely all three of them could have used some just very minor tweaks and details. Like I said, you don't need to put every single little line in there and be an expensively painted figure, but just a couple details could pull them together overall for all of them. I think Ripcon is the one that could most use it. He looks the most unfinished, with just more minor things for these two. But overall, if you're a fan of these, I can still maybe recommend picking up your favorites. Maybe not him so much, but these two are pretty solid. Like I said, we'll see where we go from here. I'll definitely be picking up the main villains, but I'm not sure about Monsters of the Week. Just let me know how much you guys are interested in seeing that or not. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, check out the Crazy Podcast at writersrangerambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Till next time, Dawson Rider, signing out.